Welcome, surf fans, to the Corona Cero host show. It's going to be a quick yet impactful show. This is maybe the 5th day in a row that I've said that, but it rings true as we see Brian Perez signing some autograph for the fans down here. Punta Roca. Brian Perez has a pretty heavy heat coming up, which we'll be talking about later on in the show. But for now, let's take a trip down the beach, through the rocks. See the lines coming in. So we got here early this morning. There were some nice waves coming through. Made the decision to run a couple heats. Chris Cote, Rosie Hodge, Jesse Mendez. And I just want to say cheers, guys. I know it's early. It's only 8 o'clock here, but it's
Zero.
Corona Cero. So, you know, anytime's a good time for it. Let's talk a little bit about what transpired early this morning. The waiting game was kind of going through the entirety of the last few days for some of our surfers, including Caroline Marks and Isabella Nichols. You know, they had to really internalize things, right? And just have that mental preparation. Isabella Nichols, she's been wearing the same jersey for 3 days. I think she slept in it, actually. But the good news for her is this jersey was nice and warmed up before going out into this heat.
Well, always prepared. And I think for both of these women, just contemplating this matchup for so many days in a row. I mean, we've been waking up for the broadcast around 4 a.m. I think the surfers have been getting down here on dark. We've been making, you know, 5:30 calls. So the competitors really have to be switched on super early in the morning. Caroline started this one so strong, Jesse, sorry.
Yes, that was impressive from her. And like, it seems like she's always going to take the heats because she's just that consistent of a surfer. We just had Isabella kind of come off the gates and regroup herself, reset, and go into broke and kind of smash it. That was the only mistake we kind of saw from Caroline right there, if we could even mention. But beautiful line from Isabella Nichols.
And Isabella, obviously a veteran competitor, she loves this, but in her post-heat interview, saying that this is a kind of a bittersweet moment for her. She's on the verge of potentially missing her beloved sister's wedding. So it almost makes you think, obviously, she's not going out there to throw the heat. We know that. But in the back of her mind, she had to have been thinking, well, this is kind of a pressure-free thing. If I lose, the great news is I get home in time for the wedding. If I win, well, that puts me in contention, and of course, you've got to dodge that mid-season cut. And Isabella Nichols, it just looks like she's surfing freely with speed, aggression. She did everything right in that heat.
And that was a very important heat for qualification. You know, if you think about the cut coming up soon after Margaret River, it was clutch for her to make the quarterfinals or even go further than that into the event.
Well, that's 717, the weightiest wave of that heat 7, highest single wave score of the heat. And you saw Caroline Marks there just kind of hovering in that mid zone, 5.33 and a 4.33. So it wasn't a very friendly day for former champions. You saw Caroline Marks in that first heat getting taken out. I wouldn't quite say it's a major upset because Isabella Nichols is that good. But when you're thinking of a surfer who was on the verge of 3 in a row here in El Salvador, I mean, that's a huge win for Isabella Nichols.
Oh, totally. I mean, Caroline would have been the favorite. Coming off the win in Portugal, like you said, and going for 3 here in El Salvador, I would say it is an upset. I mean, you see Isabella as the lower seed in that heat, taking out the win. She had to rectify a few mistakes there. So big win for Isabella, and we'll see what that does for her confidence.
Well, the sun had taxed the field for sure. This is the most empty I've seen the Red Bull athlete area of the entire event so far. Really, just only a handful of surfers down there with their coaches. Tyler Wright was one of them, showed up early, and she kind of hung in the back corner of the Red Bull area. And, you can tell, game face is on, nice and relaxed, and right in front of her, you see Tommy Whitaker, Bettylou, Sakura Johnson, some weird guy with glasses on behind them, hovering, trying to find the story, where the story was right here. Bettylou, Sakura Johnson. This is a real highlight in how good she surfs on these long right-hand point breaks. Another big heat for her. You know, going up against a surfer of Tyler Wright's magnitude on a wave like this, she showed no fear, all confidence.
Yeah, and watching Tyler, it was just more of an easy flow through the waves and not as much maybe aggression like we saw from Bettylou on her waves.
But it was kind of clear, I guess, if you look back to the first wave of the heat, which is Bettylou's best score and the best score of the heat, she was more drawn out. That shows that the judges were kind of paying close attention to how much time you put in your rail in the water and engaging that rail. This wave here for Bettylou, definitely more aggressive than all of the waves on the heat, but more back-footed, using the fins to get the speed instead of the rail, and the judges kind of going the other way around. So I guess it made sense if you look back throughout the whole heat for her to get the best score, and that best score of Tyler Wright kind of coming in close as well to that in this wave that we're watching right now.
Yeah, it was you know, a really close heat. We actually went back and watched a few of the waves back to back and compared the exchanges, but it really not much in it. I think Tyler was right there knocking on the door, but just yeah, on the unfavored side to get that second to Betty. But in my mind, it was a super close heat.
And both these surfers showed up to work early, and that's got to sting a little bit being eliminated this early in the morning. It's like showing up to the office and right when you walk in, they say, you're fired. Why are you here? That's got to be the feeling when they leave the beach. But the good news is they're still in beautiful Surf City, El Salvador. Here's how it ended. Johnson with a 6 and a 5.5. Tyler Wright, really similar scores to what we saw from the previous heat. Caroline Marks. But unfortunately, we lose Tyler Wright. But fortunately for these surfers, our quarterfinals are absolutely stacked with rippers. A lot of great stories here. You got Caitlin Simmers going up one of her best friends, Sawyer Lindblad, Gabriella Bryan versus Bella Kenworthy, Molly Picklum, Brisa Hennessy, and Isabella Nichols going up against Bettylou, Sakura Johnson. Isabella, she's going to have to trade that blue jersey she's been wearing for the past 2 days for red.
That could be trouble.
And
We'll see.
One thing I will say too, we were talking up the goofy footers coming into this event. There's only one left in the draw with Sawyer Lindblad. So, you know, we're kind of finding new narratives now.
Yeah, it's always fun when you see some new names shuffle into those quarterfinals. You love to see the big names of our sports, the past champions, always doing what they do. But I like an underdog story that develops, and I think we're starting to see a couple of those as we come to the quarterfinals. And, you know, the call to run in these mornings, it's been a pretty unique thing. You don't see it that often in surf competition on the championship tour, really just taking the first 2 hours of the day for the last 4 days straight. It gives these surfers a lot of time to think between heats. So I think that the coaching element down here and just putting yourself in positive situations around the area is really helping these surfers who have achieved success so far. Speaking of achieving success, Bettylou Sakura Johnson, a surfer so good, they named her 3 times, if you can believe it. She's on the glass now with Mitchell Salazar.
That's right. Sakura, congratulations. You went up against a strategist in Tyler Wright, a former finalist, but you settled in early on. What were you kind of identifying out there, especially when you first piled out, knowing that it was a slow heat, the one before, excuse me?
Yes, yeah, just knowing that the ocean was really slow this morning, kind of just knew how to capitalize on those bigger sets that did come in every once in a while, and just hoping to, you know, be in the right rotation to get those waves. But yeah, against Tyler, she's a world champion. She's hard to beat. Definitely happy to get over that one.
Coming from Haleiwa, this is a wave that actually has a good amount of power too. When you look at the Championship Tour schedule and you see this place, especially, how much opportunity you give yourself knowing that this might be my spot to win my first Championship Tour event?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's a right point handbrake. I love my front hand, and I'm just, you know, taking it heat by heat, of course, but yeah, just knowing that I have the capability to win heats and win an event, it's very, very special, and I can't wait to hopefully do that someday.
Tommy was out there caddying for you, but your entire crew, Seth, Doug Silva, Reynolds, and of course Brody Sale, they were going wild every time you stood up. Having that kind of support system right here, especially in the heat, how crucial is it, Betty?
Yeah, it's so important to have a great support team. I'm super grateful everyone came down to watch my heat, even though there was only 2 heats this morning. But yeah, to have that support means the world, and I'm very special and lucky to have that.
Gracias, Sakura.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Chris?
Well, thank you, Mitch. When Mitch gets in that power stance, you know the hard-hitting questions are going to follow. Congratulations to Bettylou Sakura Johnson. So, like I've been mentioning, you know, really just picking the eyes out of this waiting period. The wind has been coming up midday. We've seen tidal situations, kind of making it an easy call to put the event on hold. But what is in store for us around the corner? I believe this is a satellite look at this El Salvadorian coast that really seems to be a swell magnet. Jesse, in the next few days, what are you thinking?
I think in the next few days, we're kind of looking something very similar to what we had today, the day before, and the previous days. But then we do see kind of a south-southwest swell building up towards Friday, even Thursday afternoon. So we're probably going to see some very fun waves for the end of the period, and probably going to see the surfers line up with above overhead waves.
Yeah, and one thing, Rosie, that we know we have to do is set our alarms for very early, about 4:15, 4 o'clock in the morning, because it's proper that we got to get down here and get eyeballs on these waves before we make the official call. And so far, every morning, the minute we've pulled up, it's been firing up here.
It looks super fun. It always does down here at Punta Roca. It pulls in most of the swell, but you know, conditions really lining up for those last 3 days of the event window. But I think we'd be fools not to wake up, check it, and see what we can do. There's still a lot of event to run. We've still got 16 heats in the men's round to get through. The women's quarterfinals are set up, but there's still a lot of surfing to do.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about how many times we had this contest being on and how far we've got so far in the event. But lucky for us, it's all because there's great forecast ahead, and we're just trying to capitalize and make sure we're going to get the best conditions for the surfers.
Yeah, lucky we're in El Salvador because there are plenty of things to do to occupy your time down here. Surfing, of course, the #1 priority for most people. Well, speaking of a lot of surfing to come, this is a surfer who catches a ton of waves every time he hits the water. I'm talking about Italo Ferrer, currently wearing that yellow rankings leader jersey. This right here is a Central American grudge match for the ages. Of course, friendly rivals between Italo Ferrer and Brian Perez, but Brian Perez, historically speaking, has had Italo's number in this event.
He has. They met previously in this round. Brian Perez got the win, but Italo, I mean, can anyone stop his momentum? He's looking so strong. That round 1 heat was just insane, and actually Brian was in that heat, fell into the elimination round.
Ooh, this is a scary matchup, but guess what? This next one that we have for you, a heat to watch, is Heat 16. We've got the power surfing of Al Cleland Jr. going up against the lightning fast hunger, Felipe Toledo. Even when this guy is making it through heats, he wants more. This matchup to me is super exciting because you've got two polar opposite types of surfers, but we know one thing, both of them equally as hungry. Felipe, he's trying to fight to get up into that upper echelon, up into the top 5 at the end of the year. Al Cleland Jr. trying to make a big statement to beat one of the best to ever do it in Felipe Toledo.
Mostly in these conditions that we have to offer, obviously Felipe is the most dominant male surfer in the last, let's say, 10 years in those conditions. So it's going to be a big tax for Al, but he's been surfing amazing. He's very solid, good in the air, and he's going to put in a fight. It's really just up to whoever gets the best waves and perform the best and feels the best the next day that we run the comp.
Yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow morning. You really never know. You can predict one thing. There's always going to be waves pretty much every break that you check here in El Salvador, but we want to get those prime time conditions with enough consistency to run events. So check back in tomorrow. You set your alarms at home. We're going to be making the call at 6:15 a.m. local time. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Adios.
This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League.